podcast.
I welcome you, Campoo, on BP's Africa podcast. It's a medium for golden rule instruction and peace building. We are in Africa, East Africa, and Uganda, a country in the East African community. We are so honored and gracious for the great work you are doing to this nation to ensure mental well-being of each individual and the yearning of extending that mental wellness to communities to make sure that everyone receives basic life necessities, needs, happiness, joy, and have a business that supports him sustainably. So today we are blessed to have you to share more from you, especially about mental health, because in Africa it's a challenge now. Most of the youth are victims, the married, families are breaking up, children are so many on the streets, orphanage issue has increased. All those need a second touch. Leaders need your cause. How do they maintain their powers? By serving the communities that entrusted their powers into them. They need a touch onto their lives through your knowledge productions and efforts. So I'm honored. University students will share this podcast. Faith-based communities will share the podcast. The business community, children in camps, children on the streets, in their homes where they are being housed, we'd have a chance to share this. And I cannot wait to welcome you.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. It's an honor to be with you and
Yeah.
on your podcast. You're doing great work from an incredible place of love
Yeah.
and kindness, and that really humbles me. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I've seen so much. I see your heart now. What is this mental health you are talking about? Because there is a mismatch in the way of understanding this in different communities, especially in Africa. To some, when you say mental health, they think the sick, those who are mad, who are no longer functioning upstairs. There are those who do say it is us all, the way of life. So what do you mean by mental health?
Great. So you're right that when we use those words, people tend to think of that. I used to, by the way, myself.
Yeah.
And look, mental health is just a subset of general health. So we're focusing on the mental part of a holistic, complete health of humankind. But health is not just the absence of illness, right? It's not just to not be okay, but it's also to thrive, to flourish. I read once in a book from someone very wise that either the full body, any organism can be either thriving and growing towards light and evolving, let's say, or decaying, imploding, dying, going down. And basically, at any given time, we are on one of those two directions, let's say. So, yes, if you are not going towards growth, expansion, light, love, then you're probably going to be going the other way around. And you're not going to be thriving. You're not going to be on your potential of well-being, but also you're going to be working towards worse and worse places. So for me, mental health or mental well-being, which is another way of saying it, is knowing how this mind, that's where mental comes from, the mind, how it works, understanding its mechanics or its, let's say, ways, and to learning how to master it. Because this brain, this slash mind, even though they're not the same, but whatever happened here between our ears, the thoughts we have, the things we value, the beliefs we hold about things, how we
mm,
interpret things, how we perceive life
mm,
and events. What happens between these 20 centimeters between the two ears is what
mm,
determines our inner experience.
mm,
And therefore, we're going to feel great, we're going to be happy, fulfilled,
mm,
content,
mm, mm,
or we're going to feel decaying,
mm,
fearful, sad, depressed. And
mm,
if you are going to those negative sides for
mm,
too long, too often, then you will for sure eventually develop what people
mm,
think it's a mental illness, right? So, uh,
mm,
schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, but you don't have to go so far to not be
mm,
thriving mentally and emotionally. So,
mm,
to come back and try to sum up again your question, mental health is
mm,
not just to not be okay mentally, but also to thrive, to live and step into the potential that every human being has to
mm,
feel great, to be clear, to be fulfilled, to
mm,
and when we are there,
mm,
then our attention goes outwards and we care about others and
mm,
about the planet.
mm. Oh, that is great. This is learning now, because so many people don't feel good for themselves. They feel bad, they feel negatives, they don't believe into themselves,
Yeah.
they don't believe that they are first class citizens to things, they believe they are the last caste, things of that kind. So it is something to do with our mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Yet in God's creation, I think everyone had equal chances of having an healthy mind. But today, so many things are depriving us of that feeling. So,
Mm.
how is it that side in your country? Do you have the percentage, say, of those you feel that are feeling good for themselves? What percentage do they constitute to those that you see that really they are mentally challenged?
Well, I don't have the numbers on top of my mind.
Mm,
I don't usually read too many statistics. I are more practical. I work with the
mm,
people who care and ask the right questions and are looking for support,
mm,
and basically help them. But I did a TED talk in
mm,
November,
mm,
last November,
mm,
here in Amsterdam,
mm,
and I did research a couple of statistics. And in
mm,
Europe, in general,
mm, mm,
4 out of 5 people, every five
mm,
people, four of
mm,
them are
mm,
in medium to high risk of mental health issues.
mm,
Okay, that is 82%.
mm,
Okay, are in
mm,
medium to high risk of developing
mm,
some kind of mental health
mm,
problem. So
mm,
that is alarming. That is way too much.
mm,
And even if it's
mm,
1 out of 5, even if it's
mm,
20%, it will be
mm,
too much for me.
mm,
But you can see these statistics all around the world, United States as well, right?
mm,
Uh, but not, you don't have to go to first world countries to find it. You said it yourself. Many people in Uganda, right? You're in Uganda.
mm, mm,
Many people in countries like Uganda or Southeast Asia or South
mm,
America,
mm,
they are so not well because they're constantly comparing themselves to an image of
mm,
what life says they should be or become, right? They have a big
mm,
car, capitalist images of what
mm,
success is, what
mm,
is to have a good life, what
mm,
it means to be great and successful and be doing well. All these
mm,
ideas that people hold on, especially in not, let's say, first world countries, are
mm,
depriving them from their well-being
mm,
because they cannot be happy with who they are and how they are. They're
mm,
constantly judging themselves with an image of who they're not yet and they could
mm,
or should be. And that
mm,
gap
mm,
creates unhappiness, creates a gap in your
mm.
mind, your emotions.
Be-
So, yeah,
mm. Because they are ever striving to achieve what is not in their reach.
exactly.
So that
That is a, yeah,
creates the unhappiness.
yes.
Because traditionally African societies had a way of living, a way of setup which was simple, and people were enjoying life. We are receiving all their basic necessities, food would be grown. Sickness was rare. But now
Hmm.
today things are different. People compare
Yeah.
themselves say to America, to Canadians, like Netherlands, getting a chance to come that side is like an evanescent chance. If somebody is denied a visa, that is unhappiness. Yes, that is unhappiness, a curse. So living unhappiness, that mental breakup. Woe is me, what happened? Somebody is bewitching me, cursing me. Yeah, such challenges. So creating so mental breakups. So now, in our country, especially among the children, the youth, there is mind stagnancy, memory decay, inabilities to reason. The mindsets are not functionally well. We have negative attitudes. We feel bad of ourselves. We don't wish good to ourselves and even to others. So our students are reporting now back to schools at all levels, universities, primary, secondary students. Soon parents are moving up and down, struggling to see that they meet basic necessities. So the minds are now in great competitions, mental breakups here and there. I have no money. What am I going to do? Don't go back to college. Some children do hunger themselves. What message do you have for such circumstances?
Definitely. Look, people underestimate how much power they have on their own well being, on their own mental health, on their own feeling that they're doing well in life, that their happiness, their joy, their contentment, their fulfillment. They have more power than they think. But because people don't know themselves and the resources that life has given them, right? I mean, the mind, all the systems within the body, they are victims of their own ignorance of these things, of these beautiful resources, of these gifts. So the first thing, my message has always been, I invite people to learn about themselves. If you go to the Greek temple of Apollo, or some temples in different countries around the world, very anxious civilizations, you'll find that when you enter those big temples, there's always like some kind of encryption that says, know yourself, or know thyself and you will know God, or know yourself and you'll be free. Civilizations from all around the world forever have been telling us that it's all about knowing how we work, our inner dynamics, how our minds and emotions work. If you know that, you have the key to feeling content and happy and well. And you don't need to life to give you something. You don't need to live in the United States. You don't need to have a certain amount of money to thrive. I mean, it would help for sure. You would open up many things for sure, but you don't need those things. We human beings only really need a few things: food on our plates at least once a day, some water every day, air, and love. Right? Relationships, love, friendship, laughter. If we have those things, we're covered. We can thrive, but we cannot thrive nowadays in any country because we don't know this stuff, this wisdom. So we are craving, like you said, all the time for more, for different, assuming incorrectly that when we get that, we will be there, we will feel great. But forgetting every time we are there, we reach the next level or something, we forget that we feel exactly the same. We feel empty. The bar keeps moving away further into the future, like you're chasing rainbows or something that keep moving away from you. But we forget that we felt the same thing before. So we just accept the new goal, the new intention, the new need, and we go behind it mindlessly, blindly, understanding that happiness has nothing to do with external circumstances. If you have the basics, that's it. All the rest is to learn to be well. Look, well-being. It's called well-being for a reason. It's not well-thinking. I mean, it's not about the thoughts. We're not human thinking. We're human beings. It's not about emotions. you want to be, self-confident and stuff like that. We're
mm,
not human feelings. We're human beings, right?
mm,
It's not about having things.
mm,
Otherwise, we would be called human havings. No, we're called human beings, and
mm,
well-being is the art of being well.
mm,
That's why we're called human beings. So people don't know how to be
mm,
human beings. They don't
mm,
know how to be
mm,
content and well and happy. So
mm,
instead of trying to pursue things that you might or might not achieve and
mm,
get, or expect others to treat you in a certain way or give you things that they might or might not give you,
mm,
you need to learn to be well
mm,
without any of those things. So if
mm,
those things come to you,
mm,
it's going to be the cherry on top of the cake. It's going to be a sugar coating, like an extra nice
mm,
bonus, a gift.
mm,
But if you don't have it, you don't suffer at all. You can be
mm,
happy.
mm,
This morning, actually not this morning. This whole morning I had a training. I
mm,
gave a 3-hour training
mm,
for young professionals, not professionals of all ages actually, on
mm,
stress management. Learn how to deal with stress.
mm,
When I went out, I was
mm,
on the train station. It was in the
mm,
open air, very small train station. Everything was white. There was snow because for the last 2 days it's been snowing, and the
mm,
beautiful sun was shining on our faces. I was
mm,
walking very slow, just enjoying the ride,
mm,
thinking of our future conversation in this podcast.
mm,
And I started actually kind of dancing with no music or anything. I
mm,
did some turns because the sun was warm and I was, just so
mm,
happy that I
mm,
get the gift of inspiring people on my trainings to help
mm,
others. And I was just dancing and moving around.
mm,
1 minute, 2 minutes later, there's a girl coming my way that
mm,
she's also dancing, right?
mm,
Out of nothing, just because in the middle
mm,
of the train
mm,
station. Uh, and she gets, after she passes me by, she gets some snow and starts
mm,
making a snow bear or snow man
mm,
and start dressing it on, putting branches on his feet and faces and stuff while she's
mm,
smiling and just being happy, taking the sun in.
mm,
That's the thing. While all the rest of the people in the training room were saying, yeah, this weather is terrible. The Netherlands is awful. The weather is so cold. Look at the snow. I
mm,
fell last night. I
mm,
couldn't use my car today. I was 15 minutes more in my car today than I should have.
mm,
You were 15 in a warm, nice car where
mm,
most people would kill to have a car. You're complaining that you have a car and you had to spend 15 more minutes in that
mm,
warm, air conditioned car
mm,
and a beautiful sunny day. That's your
mm,
problem? Really?
mm,
While this other woman was in the cold, just taking the resources that she had, enjoying and being grateful for life, making that snowman.
mm,
I
mm,
approached her and I said, can I talk to you? She took out the
mm,
earpieces. She was listening to music. And I
mm,
said, I just want to say that you're so lovely. You're an
mm,
example.
mm,
You're such an example right now of
mm,
contentment, happiness, presence.
mm,
This is what it is. And she said to me something that is
mm,
relevant to your listeners.
mm,
She said, well, what is the alternative? To be unhappy?
mm,
I mean, it's a choice. It's so
mm,
beautiful. And I said, yes, everything is beautiful. And by the way, you are too. Okay.
mm,
We
mm,
both smiled and we parted our ways.
mm,
That's it. So we need to know how our minds
mm,
work. And that's why I was offering you, we can open up this content that I have for more people
mm,
to learn about how their minds and emotions work
mm,
so they can
mm,
take mastership of their
mm,
well-being, mental and emotional well-being, therefore
mm,
health.
mm. Oh, that's great. Actually, we need you to come in Africa. Have you ever been in Africa before?
Never. It's on my bucket list. I do want to go. And
Mm,
actually, I always, the last 2 years, I said, I want to go,
mm,
hopefully with a purpose, not just on vacation. I want to
mm,
go and I want to actually be with community,
mm.
talk, help, do some kind of impact, bring in my knowledge and my skills to to do something with it.
Yes, we invite you because we need you to come and you meet audiences. We mobilize you communities, community members. Can gather, say, 5 university students. From each university, they gather into a one bigger university like Makerere University in
Uh-huh.
thousands, and you address them. Yeah,
I would love that.
they share with you their personal life experiences. they listen from the horse's mouth. Yes, yes. So are you okay? An arrangement being made, and
I would love that, man. I would love that. That would be amazing.
hey, come to
Finding,
Africa. Africa is in need of you.
I appreciate
Ye-
that, man. I would love to be of service if I can. Of course, let's have
Yes.
those conversations.
Mm. Yes. So about spirituality, how do you handle that? Because say for us in Africa, people have different spiritual beliefs. How do you ensure that they are all the mind is like at par, though we are different in spiritual beliefs?
Well, we need to really make a difference between religion and spirituality.
Mm,
Okay, the way I see it, and in my experience, is not the same.
mm,
The original meaning of religion, if you look
mm,
at the etymology, the root of the word comes
mm,
from the Latin word religare.
mm,
The Latin word religare means to reunite.
mm,
Reunite what with what? Well, your individual consciousness
mm,
with universal consciousness or God or whatever you want to call it.
mm,
So the process, that's why there's a priest, right? For example,
mm,
that helps you communicate and reconnect with God and be in okay terms with God,
mm,
right?
mm,
So reuniting is the essence of any religion. But what
mm,
happens is that then religions organize and you create an institution, you create organizations, and those organizations and systems are subject and victim of human
mm,
error and
mm,
ego. And
mm,
then they become huge organizations with power. It was about money for many centuries
mm,
centuries, yeah.
mm,
It's all about money, power, but also
mm,
subject to mistake and human mistake.
mm,
So if you take the institutions away, what you're
mm,
left is with the scriptures, right? Of the
mm,
of the wise sages, the enlightened
mm,
beings that
mm,
originated those
mm,
institutions. None of them wanted to have a huge ego-based
mm,
organization that wanted to fight for the market share of religions around the world. And
mm,
no, they just
mm,
started talking some
mm,
truths that they saw, that they
mm,
received, because their
mm,
expansion, sorry,
mm,
their consciousness was expanded and they saw more truth, they saw more
mm,
light. And if you read the original scripts from all these people, you'll see a lot of things in common. That it's all
mm,
about love, that we're all one, that we're all,
mm,
let's say, one and the same with God, and that
mm,
basically we all have that spiritual nature, meaning
mm,
spirituality, meaning that anything that is not physical,
mm,
our our soul, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, the non-physical side of things, that truth
mm,
that was before we came to the world and will continue to be after we leave this world,
mm, mm,
that true pure essence
mm,
is spirituality, is remembering that you're not your mind and your thoughts and the stories you tell yourself about who and what you are.
mm,
What? So that is how I see it and how I teach people to step
mm,
into spirituality and tap into all the benefits of it. Okay, which
mm,
are
mm,
many. For mental well-being is very
mm,
important. So
mm,
again, it's all about true spirituality for me in my experience is to
mm,
actually not believe anything. It's the opposite of believing and thinking and talking about a god.
mm,
True spirituality is to stop being even a human being and to not think of your body, not think of your mind, and just be. That's why
mm,
also it's very linked with well-being and mental health. If you
mm,
learn to be with no thoughts,
mm,
you transcend the mind, and when you transcend the mind,
mm,
then you really are on your true self, on your true essence. Some people
mm,
call it spirit, soul, whatever you want to call it. Okay.
mm, mm.
Do you practice meditation? Have you done something like that before?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you achieved this silence, this moment where there's no thought whatsoever, and you're in
Mm,
complete inner peace and silence?
mm. Yeah. That silence is a difference maker in our lives. You say have a place, you sit, you keep quiet, you think, you meditate, no disturbances, no what and what. You just total surrender of
Yes,
your
sir.
being.
Exactly. And
Yes.
then that is when you access your true being,
Mm.
right? Your
Mm.
true self that is spiritual, that is non-material, but
Mm.
also by connecting with the true self, at the same time you're connecting with everything in the universe and you're connecting with God. So
Mm.
we don't need others and priests to monopolize our connection with God and the
Mm.
universe. It's right
Mm.
there. We're always connected all the time, but
Mm.
the mind forgets it. So
Mm.
the path towards spirituality, but also for
Mm.
ultimate well-being, is
Mm.
to bypass the mind, to be
Mm.
in silence. The
Mm.
moment there's thought,
Mm.
boom, you fell into this three-dimensional world of body and mind.
Mm.
The moment there's a sensation on your body, boom,
Mm.
your consciousness went down to your body and you
Mm.
lost that awareness of spirit.
Mm.
But when you are in complete silence,
Mm.
and your body is healthy and your mind is healthy, therefore you can be in silence with no internal interruptions,
Mm.
you access that connection and all the
Mm.
benefits of spirituality.
Mm. Wow, this is a great knowledge sharing. And I just wish one day, one time, we have you this side speaking to us, speaking to, yes, speaking to community members, children of all ages, people in hospitals. I say your healing message. This is total healing that we are lacking, we are missing. So I see in the background there is something like a book written on mind.
Yes.
Is it your knowledge product?
Yeah. This this is the mind canvas.
Yes, I see the mind canvas. Yes. Could you tell
The,
us more about that?
Definitely, definitely. So, like, I've been working with people, empowering them and transforming their mindsets. Their
Mm,
empowering to know how to master their minds and emotions for such a
mm,
long time, and more than 10 years. And at some point, people keep telling me that the
mm,
results they were getting, the well-being they were getting, very was incredibly fast,
mm,
revolutionarily fast
mm,
and powerful, and long lasting. So they all said, how is it possible that I can go 10 years, 15 years to psychologists, but you in
mm,
3 sessions have given me what they could never give me? So I
mm.
realized that I was doing something very well,
Yeah,
but I didn't know exactly what I was doing well. I was just
yeah.
doing my stuff because I have more than 10, 12 certifications
Mm,
on things about psychology and
mm,
coaching and ways to help people, right?
mm,
But it became unconscious. I just do it, but I didn't know what I was doing, but the results were there. So people were
mm.
telling me these things, and I said, okay, let me think and
Yeah.
reverse engineer what I do with people, because
Mm,
it's not just coaching. Coaching is just one tool.
mm,
Uh, and I realized that it was a combination of Oriental, Asian philosophies, also Western philosophies as well,
mm,
coaching, psychology. It was a spirituality, a mix of so many things that were
mm,
making it so powerful. So what I did is that it
mm,
took me 1 year, 1 to 2 years, to kind of figure out what I was doing with people and to put it
mm,
on a book, to create
mm,
a physical, a visual model of the mind that
mm,
simplifies psychology.
mm,
In this book, I simplify psychology and make it very simple in one image so that
mm,
anyone with one
mm,
image
mm,
can use that as a pair of glasses to kind of see through that model and understand
mm,
what they're thinking of, how they're creating their own emotions, uh,
mm,
destroying their well-being and mental health, and
mm,
how to do the opposite, how to empower themselves, feel
mm,
confidence, feel self-esteem,
mm,
feel motivation,
mm,
happiness, joy,
mm,
how to forgive, how to accept, how to love.
mm,
All these stuff are I touch on my
mm,
book,
mm.
but it's really about understanding that the mind is like a canvas, and you can paint on the mind whatever you
Oh,
want.
what is a canvas?
A canvas, a painter when they're making a painting,
Yes,
th-
painting.
yeah, this white thing where they paint,
Oh, where they paint.
is called a canvas, and usually it's a white canvas where you can paint whatever you want. But even if you're painting and it's an awful painting, let's say awful,
Mm,
very bad, you can
yeah.
just paint on top of it and you can make a new painting out of it. The
Mm,
canvas is your endless possibilities. And
mm,
That's a good question. So let me explain a little bit more why I call it the mind canvas. So I say that your life is a canvas where you can
Mm,
paint whatever you want and create the life that you want if you know how to.
mm,
Okay? If you know how to.
mm,
You can go to the US, you can create some music and become super famous like the African guy from what is
mm,
that song Jerusalema
mm,
Jerusalema, you
mm,
know?
mm,
Jerusalema na 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 na. Yeah?
mm. Yes.
This guy just made this one song with this woman, and everybody in the world listens to this
Mm,
song.
mm,
There's a lot of people behind you.
mm. Yeah.
Hey, so you see, and they became filthy
Mm,
rich,
mm,
so anyone can really tap into any resource and get
mm.
anything they want if they know
Mm.
how to, if they want to. So their lives is a canvas where they can paint whatever life they want.
Oh,
But everything that has ever been created out there in the world,
yeah.
anything, first had to be created in the mind of someone. Cars,
Mm,
planes, money, someone thought of something and then
mm,
created it. So
mm,
if you want to paint whatever in the canvas of your life,
mm,
you need to first learn how to paint in the canvas of your mind.
mm,
So if you know how to think less and better in a
mm,
more resourceful way, you can
mm,
then determine what you feel every day, no matter what happens to you in your life. You can
mm,
determine what you do,
mm,
how you do it, and therefore the life you have, the relationships you have, and through
mm,
those relationships, the life circumstances you have. If
mm,
you have enough resources, if you have enough
mm,
good things coming your way, let's say,
mm,
the people have the power to do that. They just don't know these things. So that's why I made this to
mm,
give access to anyone around the world to learn
mm,
these things.
mm. Oh, it's a nice piece I would like to land on. Possibly you will share with me, eh? Yeah. It's
Of course, I will.
the way you branded it is really eye-catching.
Thank
Mind canvas.
you.
Because
Yes.
a canvas, like this side, we have a type of a shoe called the canvas. Yes, I say, well, mind the canvas. We have a type of shoe this side. It is called the canvas. Just easy ones, eh? You don't need to dress much. You don't polish. It is
Nice.
easy. You can put on any time you feel like I'm going here. I'm rushing here. A canvas. So
Nice,
I
man.
said, "Oh, why is this? Mind the canvas." So I'm saying it's like artists when you are on stage, you can do anything. So they said the world is a stage. You
Yeah.
can do anything. You can create. You can do this. If you decide to destroy yourself, you can.
Exactly. And that's what people are great at, eh?
Yeah,
That's what people are great at. So put themselves in mental health conditions. They're great at putting themselves at low self-confidence by comparing themselves to famous people or people with money or something. People
yeah,
are great at making themselves feel bad and destroying their lives, right?
yeah.
And their marriages and their families, like you mentioned. We have the same power to do
Mm,
the opposite, to make
mm,
ourselves feel great at any given
yeah.
time, no matter
Mm,
with what
mm,
goes on around us, but
yeah.
also to change our lives in the way that we really need and want. Okay,
Mm,
it's
mm,
just, again, we need to learn, and first
mm,
starts with imagining. With right, if you don't like where you are, move. You're not a tree, but it
yeah.
starts with saying, okay, move where. You need to think
Mm,
about it. what,
mm,
what is the minimum things in my life that really are important to be well, the minimum stuff. And then you
mm,
can also dream to have a great life and a lot of money, but I don't teach that to people. I think the more you have, the more stress also and fear you experience. So
mm.
I teach the opposite, to do minimalism, to have
Yes.
a simple, humble life, and then from there to be well, right?
Yes. You see, I heard of somebody in one of the countries that was very poor and struggled each day till when God blessed him with lots of monies. That when he got this money, he feared to sleep with the money in the house.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And he went sleepless nights, scared of when,
yeah, yeah.
now again, man has come and then you don't sleep. You are scared of this and that. So you see
Exactly.
that mental breakup because of the world stuffs. So now, what could be your conclusive remarks? When are we meeting again? Anytime?
Well, we can take that out of the podcast and actually talk about outside.
Yeah.
We already have some actions we were going to say. I'm going to give you access to my resources so that you can learn these things yourself, and let's have conversations about what do we want to do next,
Yes.
either with a potential trip to where you
Mm,
live, and to do some work and talk to different audiences. That's one
mm,
idea. You
mm,
mentioned something else with the game,
mm,
and but also we can give access to people to my platform and my content to
mm,
empower them. We have different things we can do, and we can
mm,
take that outside of this conversation. But
mm,
last remarks. Look, again, in conclusion,
mm,
mental well-being, mental health is
mm,
key, because if your mind is not well, your life will not be well. Your
mm,
relationships and health will not be well. Okay?
mm,
So the mind is our computer, our center of command, where everything
mm,
starts, right? And so we need to take good care of it. Now,
mm,
to do that, we need to learn how it works. My
mm,
book is one way to do it. The resources I'm going to be sharing are another way to do it. There's some free resources you can share with everyone.
mm,
But when you learn how the mind works and how we create unhappiness and how to do
mm,
the opposite,
mm,
we will be creating well-being and health, mental health for
mm,
people. We
mm,
need to just get that information to as many
mm,
people as possible, but people need to want it as well.
mm,
Okay, people need to want to be well, to stop suffering,
mm,
and that's why you do very important work to spread
mm,
knowledge, spread wisdom,
mm,
invite people to talk and to inspire.
mm,
This is where it starts, and that's when people listening to this say,
mm,
what is this thing? What is this mind thing? What does this guy mean?" And then you start reading something, you ask the right questions, you read
mm,
something for free, and
mm,
then there starts the journey towards mental
mm,
health and well-being.
mm. Yeah, that is great. Members on BP's Africa podcast from all corners of the nation. I'm Konko sure you have heard from Campoo. We establishing a knowledge sharing relationship. This is just a launch of it. We are going to exploit more of his knowledge creations. He's going to give us access to his knowledge platforms, to use these platforms to add onto what we've known, what we haven't known, to enter into ourselves, and we become theories, we become changers of communities, replacing unhappiness with happiness, all that. So it's one of the good Samaritans of this 21st century that we are blessed with. I would like to say thank you so much for all you've done. There are so many people testifying about your contributions to where they are right now. Others you don't know, others are there, others you know. I believe a few people can come, can contact, but many people get healed, they keep quiet, they are there, but so many are there testifying about that. How many millions of copies have you so far printed of the Mind Canvas?
Oh no, I don't know exactly.
Mm,
This is not published through publishing companies that I received a report and
mm,
checks every month on my account. This is
mm,
published through Amazon, so that it
mm,
achieves the most amount of people around the world.
mm,
Amazon.com.
mm,
And I never checked really the amount of sales. I just know there's some money coming in sometimes.
mm,
What's important really for me is not how much I sell. What's important
mm,
is to get this content to as many people as possible. And
mm,
this podcast are one way of doing that.
So, no, this way universities are yearning for that knowledge.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, they are yearning for that knowledge. Only that in many of our communities, internet is a challenge. Accessing Amazon is a challenge. But I know there are many other ways we can get that knowledge, the mind canvas. And soon we are going to be at par enjoying it. So I'm so grateful for your acceptance to be part of this conversation, this
It's my
knowledge
pleasure.
sharing, and I'm looking forward to seeing so many other meetings, because these podcasts will later grow and reach out to all nations. We share links, we share everything, and then we receive what you have for us. So I once again remind you of the mental health and know-how game development. You will love it. You love it. Yeah, you love it because you are next part of the 21st century who is going to take this far to all nations. I'm Ronald Kiyimba on Be Peace Africa podcast. God bless you, Campoo.
You too, Ronald. You too.
Yes.
Be Peace Africa podcast.